ladies and gentlemen, we are joined with a very, very special guest, founder, entrepreneur, dashingly handsome man, all in black. Normally, that's normally my vibe. David Feldman of BKFC. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, man. Thanks for having me, guys. Good to be on every.
Thanks so much for joining us, man.
Thank you so much.
We are absolutely loving what you're doing, man.
Exactly. I downloaded the app just before Tiago because I was watching on YouTube before that. Don't worry about that. Like I said to Streets, get the app, like get involved. 590. It's just an amazing app. It's like the production of it is powerful. Everything about it is quality. Like Streets and I have very much so become very, very favourable with BKFC. Like we've had Tyler Goodjohn on, your new signing, and he's a bit of a ledge. We've got there you go.
My buddy was just showing me his Twitter. He's like, look at this. He said he's coming in a few weeks. Then look at this. I'm like, oh crap, man. I mean, he's a marketing machine. He can fight. So we just gotta clean him up just a little bit.
I refer to him. He looks like a sexy Viking like Jesus, with a thriving OnlyFans page. Like you got to respect that mix, right?
If he comes over here and does the kind of things that he did over there, we're going to turn him into a superstar very, very fast.
To be fair, that's exactly what we said, because we saw him fight live here, and he was just a galactic gulf in skill above everyone else that he fought. I think he's going to be like a really big star for you guys.
Yeah, but the personality with it, that's what's really going to sell.
Yeah.
Yep.
Some guys can talk smack really, really good and they can't fight at all. And some guys can fight great and can't say two words.
Exactly.
And then, he's the perfect storm. So he's going to be good. And then we got another guy from England over there. Where are you guys from over there?
I'm from London. Streets.
I'm from Australia, but I live in London now.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And we have Mark Godbeer. We just signed another
nice.
from England. And we're working on a really, really big name from England. So hopefully that's going to happen here any day.
Okay.
Really big MMA guy, and he wants to test his waters with us. So hopefully that's done pretty
quite
soon.
Interesting.
Just hard with the travel restrictions right now, but we'll work through everything.
But massive respect. I mean, for you guys to even have crowds, it's insane. Like to keep the events going, to have crowd respect. Honestly.
Thank you. Small crowds, but enough to give it the feel and the sounds. The fighters.
Yeah.
I talked to a lot of guys that fought in the bubbles without any fans at all, and they fought well, but they said it wasn't the same. It was more like a training or sparring session because they didn't have the fans yelling and screaming for them. So it's just enough to give it that ambient noise that we need to get these guys rolling, and enough to just make you feel normal a little bit.
Because we were saying with the Zepeda Baranchek in the glove boxing the other week, like there was like 9 knockdowns in 5 rounds, and we're like, that deserved a crowd. And when you go to the bare knuckle, you're going to get that sort of scrap all the time. So to have the crowd, it's the perfect fitting for it.
That was an unbelievable fight, man. Unbelievable fight. One of the best I've ever seen.
Right? That's what I was going to say about like BKFC. Like the thing that stands out for me is the production, the pace, It seems to be just incredibly like agile. There's no red tape. Like you seem to be able to do everything that you need to do to give the fans exactly what they want. And it's a very different combat sport. Like it is bare knuckle boxing as such, but it's just different enough for you to have a completely new subsector fan coming in, as well as the perfect crossover between the MMA guys and the glove boxing fans. It's just a brilliant product. I'm super in.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah, we worked. This wasn't, they say, someone said you're an overnight success. And I said an overnight success that took 10 years in the making.
Always.
We've been trying this for 10 years, trying to get it legalized and sanctioned. Yeah. I actually was over there in England and was with a couple of those guys when they were doing the bale bare knuckle fights, the bales of hay.
Yeah.
I told them, look, it's not going to work like this. Someone's going to die. Like literally, I was like, this is crazy. So I helped them evolve a little bit into what they were doing. And I think just the little things that we added with the clinching, and it's enough to separate us from anything else in any other sport out there. It's enough to make it exciting, and it's enough to make it a real, true, equal playing ground between an MMA fighter and a boxer.
Yeah.
The circle ring as well, having the scratch lines is amazing. Like the proper throwback. It really, and honestly, for a relatively short amount of time that it has been legalized, what you've done is incredible for the people listening. When you think back to the struggles of MMA, how long that took, and you've got the app, you've got the network exposure, you've got the massive fights, the fighters coming over. It's really, really impressive.
Congratulations.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you. No, look, it's you got to assemble a great team, and every day, every month, every week, every year, we're adding more and more people to the team, and that's really what does it. I have I like to call myself a visionary because I think of different things that are going to evolve it, but these guys put it together. These guys are really doing all the hard work and really, marketing it right, fighter character creation, whatever, everything that we have to do. The team is really doing it all, but it's phenomenal. I mean, 2.5 years, not even 2.5 years in, and we're not far away from really competing with all the big guys.
Absolutely. And the more names that get drawn in, like the more spectacular shows that you have, like it's not going to be that long, and I'm sure you've probably already had the conversation before you start doing the 24/7-esque sort of fighter stories for everyone to see and making it very accessible, which was always the annoying thing. Do you remember like the early 24/7s where you would have to like torrent it, especially in the UK because you can't get HBO here, right? So as long as it's accessible, everyone gets behind Tyler, for example, like his story, everything to do with him. You're like, I want to watch this dude.
That'll need an R rating, that one, mate.
Yeah.
My VP of marketing, Rob Razis, he's like, just get a camera behind that guy, and that's it. One guy with a camera behind Tyler, and we can make a hit the show. So yeah,
we keep that guy in front of Tyler, not behind Tyler. You don't know what he's getting up to all the time.
We have some really big plans for what we're going to do with him. Paige VanZant as well. We're going to be starting these things. We're starting these. There's a new series that we have. It's called Toe the Line Fight Series. That it's kind of like a feeder league, but I'm going out there and watching these fights and giving fighters some contracts. And then we're also doing the tryouts in different cities. Our next one's actually on Halloween Day in Phoenix.
So that Chris Lieben's hosting it, isn't it? And
Yep. So we we're just trying to do everything we can to look. If it succeeds, it's because of all the hard work we put in, and if it doesn't succeed, it's not from any lack of effort or trying. We did everything we can do. We can't force it down people's throat. We're doing everything we can do, and our audience is growing. It's growing bigger and bigger and bigger every day. But we can only do what we're doing, and sooner or later, I believe that we're going to catch on and be really mainstream. I mean, we're kind of following the same type of footsteps, if you will, but I think we're getting a little more popular faster than the UFC did. So
yeah, absolutely.
I think we're doing all our due diligence.
Also, too, with the talent, like in MMA, it was kind of like people at the end of their careers originally then tried it out with the bare knuckle. Historically, it was people that had a combat background. But you got like Nico Hernandez, Dat Nguyen, people that are like young going straight into it. It shows that it's growing like that. That's people's go-to sport, which is really exciting to see.
Look, and a lot of the naysayers said, you're using washed up guys, washed up MMA guys. You're taking MMA fighters and boxers. And I said, well, where's the bare knuckle guys? They're not there. I have to develop them. So I have to. It's a strategy. Look, you bring in a guy like Frank Mir, who we're signing any day, or
fantastic
signing, and he's coming over, and he's probably nearing the end of his career. But a lot of people are going to tune in to watch him fight. And when they do, they're going to see the other 16 or 18 sensational younger guys that we have on our card that we're going to build into stars. So it's kind of like you pull them in with that and you give them the good substance on the undercard and they become fans.
Yeah, I mean, someone like Frank is, I mean, yes, he has been an MMA star, but he's a lifelong martial artist. Like this to him will just be another fighting form that he wants to become not only proficient in, but a champion in, right? And he's a perfect person to have to maybe just push things forward. He's a name. He's very articulate. Maybe grab him for the commentary team afterwards. He's amazing.
Funny, he's going to start with our on the Toe the Line series. He's going to start with the commentary team there.
That's a perfect shout.
Absolutely, you said everything perfect there. And we're just going to keep developing our own fighters, and I think that's what's going to sustain us. So we can't keep paying all this big money for guys that want to fight 1 or 2 fights. They're going to bring a lot of fans there, but we have to keep them there, and we're going to keep them there by developing our own stars, our own fighters, and our own guys that everybody wants to follow. That's the main thing here, to get them to want to follow these guys, get them to want to follow. As you brought up, the 24/7 type of show, that kind of show where they can see where their background is. Why are they fighting? Some of these guys are fighting, like my first world champion was Arnold Adams, and he came to our first tryout. He slept in the train station that night. It was either he could get a hotel room or he could pay for his train ticket. So he slept in the train station that night. He got selected at the tryouts and he ended up winning the world, the first world championship. So amazing stories in some of these guys. And some of these guys are doctors and lawyers, like really, really like proficient professionals, and they just want to give it a shot. So, we have people from all walks of life that want to get in this, and but what we do have is we have some of the baddest dudes in the world, because you can't be anything but a bad dude
yeah.
to do this. And I think that our last show, BKFC 11, really kind of
it's immense. It was absolutely perfect.
Yeah,
start to finish, they were just banging.
Yeah, it was one of the ones where we were going to watch just like the main card, and then Streets ended up like that was his whole day. Like he just every single part of it.
It was unbelievable. As a fan, I was like, wow,
yeah, this is fantastic.
Unbelievable. So, and then I got to go to the Total Line show the following 2 weeks later, and I didn't have to, it was a local promoter we worked with, so I got to actually sit there and watch it. And I was like, as a fan, then truly only as a fan, I was like, this is an unbelievable sport. Like, this is just excitement from start to finish.
I mean, that Lobov Knight fight, my God, like, to bring people, and then to just follow that up with fight, you're like, oh my God, this is like a Gaddy Ward type, outlier. And then you keep watching like, man, this is legit how the fights are. The pace of it, the shorter rounds.
That's what I was about to say. That's kind of the genius of the sport. It is a sprint. It's a sprint that is a sustainable sprint for everyone. Everyone seems to know what it is, what they're doing. There's no clever rope play, because we found out that what I thought were ropes is actually iron covered in foam. You're not using the ropes to give it all of that and slow the pace down. Like there's no hiding. It's
that Joe Elmore fight on the last card. Tom Showorth, I don't know how to say his last name. Showorth, whatever. Yeah. Oh my God! Like knockdown.
If you've been watching us, he had 2 unbelievable fight of the nights with Diego Garajo. They're just unbelievable. They both got dropped like 3 or 4 times, and they got up, and it was just. I mean, that kid can fight. He's gonna come back again, but he's gonna drop down to 155. That's his normal weight. But
right.
I mean, that fight, the knockout by Lorenzo Hunt, the knockout by Keeman Jackson that I just signed. There's so many different guys, that we're really trying to groom to be the next big thing. And the crazy thing is, we're just getting so many, like, especially boxers, so many undefeated boxers coming over to us now and saying, I want to do this instead of boxing. So that's great for us.
Well, it's a great way for them to get big exposure and accessible exposure. I mean, we were talking 2 days ago to Chop Cooley. One of your, his fight of you, like Chop list the people that he hasn't been in the ring with more so than the ones that he has been in with. Like, I'm fascinated to see how he fares up.
So, and that's where I wanted to talk about. I'm glad you brought that up. So he's a former world champion. He's 45 years old, I believe. He's 45. And, because he was 45, I made him come out to the tryouts. He came out to the tryouts in Kansas last month, because I wanted to see what he had. And he had everything he's always had. Obviously, he's a little older, so he's probably a little bit slower. And, he took a little bit of punches, but he's sharp as a tack. So I was like,
that as well.
This guy contract. So he's supposed to be fighting next week, actually next Friday night, October 16th, against one of our guys that's fought for us about 4 or 5 times. Travis Thompson always comes to fight, so it'll be a good test for Chop and see what he has. He's he fought Floyd Mayweather. He's been in there with the best in the world and lost the decision. Didn't get stopped by him. So.
All of the big fights he had, he went the distance with Judah, like Cotto, they stopped that because they wanted, he hurt all of these, like AAA level
Provodnikov
guys.
over
Provodnikov, there? Yeah, Matisse, Randall Bailey, like he's a guy. And he was what I liked about it when we asked about what he's doing different, because obviously, he's a vet.
Right.
He's toughening up his hand. He's got kung fu boards that he's just punching the shit out of the walls. And he's just like, we're like, obviously, you can't like try and out slick this. He's like, no, why would I out slick it? Like, I'm coming to fight. Like, I'm in the middle. I'm gonna charge him down, and I'm gonna beat the shit out of him. And it's just like respect, chop chop.
He's a good guy. He's a smart guy too. He's been around for a long time. So all respect to that guy. And like I said, so many other guys like Lucas Brown is hitting us up every day.
Really?
Every
Yeah.
day he's hitting us up. So we're gonna see if we're gonna do something with him. A lot of top guys right now are we're gonna see if we're gonna do. Hank Lundy's another one who's
Nice.
talking to us a lot. A lot of these guys that are not at the end of their career, and
Yeah.
look, we did get guys at the end of their career at the beginning. We had to.
That's then though, right?
Fights up, but now people in their prime are saying, "Let's do this," and it's evolving the sport. We have some really really big things coming up. Just a lot of fights. We're going to be doing 2 fights a month. We're also going to be acquiring different content. We're going to be coming over to across the pond as soon as we're allowed. We're definitely going to be doing shows in London or Manchester 100% as soon as we're allowed to open up and we don't have the restrictions anymore. So we'll be over there sooner than later.
We'll be there.
Yeah, we'll be there. How aggravating is it? I've done a little bit of research on you today, but how aggravating has it been during COVID, being asked how many fighters have said no due to COVID? Bearing in mind these are bare knuckle professional fighters, I don't think they're that worried about a pneumonia-esque cold, right?
Nobody for COVID, but some people had to turn it down because they weren't
training. Yeah.
Yeah. But nobody said no because of this. And we do the protocols we're supposed to do. We do the testing, the masks, everything that we're supposed to do. But at the end of the day is, I'm not making a political statement here, but I think you just have to live. If you're going to live in hiding,
100%.
we're never going to get through this. So you just have to live. And, prayers out to everyone that died or got seriously injured from this. But at the same time, if we just shut the whole world down, we're never going to get, going to get better. And the economy is going to die. And when the economy dies, people are dying. So, there's a lot of different ways around this, but let's not talk too much about that.
Yeah.
Just the part about my guys very rarely turn down a fight. They very rarely do it. And if they do, in the position we're in, there's 3 of them so far, they're done. They're done. So, all right, no problem. You're done. Now, look, if a guy says, no, I haven't been training. Okay, I get that. But if I say, oh, like if one fighter is calling me up every day, I want to fight this guy. I want to fight this guy. I want to fight this guy. Okay, now you're fighting this guy. And he agrees to the person, then he calls me back and he wants double the money. And I said, no problem, you're done. You'll never fight again. It's over. It's over. Like, we're using no time to play games. We're not going to play the political game in the combat sports that there is. We're raw, we're pure, we pay the guys right. And I don't think, I saw one fighter out of 300 fighters ever say a bad word about us. You don't really see anyone talking bad about us.
No.
Do you think it helped? Because we had Amir Abdallah, he's like Floyd Senior's manager, Badu Jack's manager. He was a great fighter, world champ. Yourself, you've got a fight background. It really helps, right? Because, historically, we did a special on Don King, you know what I mean? And it's like when they don't have that background, it seems to go a very separate way. But yourself being a fighter, you can tell that the guys are looked after. Tyler was raving about the difference and the treatment, everything like that.
Yeah, he really was.
Do you feel like that helps? Because from an outsider, it seems like, yes, when you see someone that has fought before.
If you're a business guy and, some of them guys over there are a little have a stuck up personality and they've never been punched in their face. So they don't get it. And I don't mean it like in a bad way, but they don't know what it feels like. They have no idea what these guys go through at all. Yeah. And look, some fighters can be assholes too, trust me. But at the same respect, like if you don't know what these guys have ever been through, you're not going to be able to, have a conversation with them and understand what they're going through. I get it. I've been there. I sparred with the best fighters in the world. My father trained 7 world champions. I've had fighters live in my house since I was a baby. It was a training camp. So I've been through it all. at the same time, I can call, I can call bullshit on a fighter too. I can say, look, that's not happening either. And what do you want to do? You want to do this now? Like, I can do that with the fighters too. And I don't want to do that. And most fighters we get along so great with. I have a great relationship with almost everybody. Like Julian Lane, who fought on our last show.
Yeah.
Put the thing out. He said, the best guy he's ever worked with ever. Looks out for the fighters, takes care of them. I threw him a little extra money for he just had a new baby. So I threw him a little money.
That goes so far, right?
Yeah.
And
really
they
does.
don't do that. Like they want to nickel and dime these guys. But I mean, at the same time, these guys are the one. If I didn't have some of the, and I do consider them the baddest fighters in the world in our organization, we were at.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that they are. I think it's always a very delicate balance between like the league, as it were, and the stars of the league, and one shouldn't surpass the other one, and vice versa. But you should be able to kind of coexist, and as long as everyone's taken care of, everyone should be sweet.
Sure. No. Look, everyone's taken care of, but then you do sign like a Paige VanZant, you give her really good money because she's worth it. Why is she worth it? She has a huge following.
Yeah.
The biggest following I've ever seen, really.
Yeah.
So that now some of the fighters go back and go, well, Paige is getting this.
You're not Paige.
Okay, so let's go on followers and let's, I'm paying one guy whatever 15,000 or 20,000. So if you go on followers, you should be getting 1,000. Do you want to go on followers? Like, you know what I mean? Like, just trust me, I'm taking care of you guys, and I get along good with everybody, and they know it. Everybody's going to ask for a little more, and that's the nature of life, really. But we treat them all right. We treat them great. We make them feel part of the team, part of the company. We know that they're going to help us get to the next level. So, the relationship with the fighters, relationship with the staff, it's amazing. We very rarely have a problem with anybody on our team, whether it's a fighter or a someone on our inner team. Every once in a while, I'll butt heads with fighters managers because I don't love management and fighters because I think they're looking at it from a different perspective. But I always deal with them and respect them. At the same time, I just love dealing with the fighters themselves because I've been there and I know what they need. I treat them all fair, and it works that way.
Why did you stop fighting yourself? Was it just like you just had other
pursuits? I have my son. I actually got into business, and in all honesty, I was like at a really good place in my fighting career where I was sparring with Bernard Hopkins, all the best fighters in the world, and
Jesus.
And I just had a bad at that point where button heads a lot with my dad, who was my trainer.
Yeah.
And it was tough because he was a single father, raised me and my brother, and it was also our trainer, and it just wasn't working anymore. So it was time to just get out of here. It wouldn't have ended well. So
no,
I went out the way I wanted to go out, and created some businesses, and here we are 10 years into this dream, 2.5 years after we're legalized, and I think we're making some headway.
How do you maintain because like BKFC is special because you have so much, like I said, mobility, where you can be matchmaker, promoter, and handle all the event and everything. But as you guys get bigger, which potentially is one event away from immense blow up, right? How do you then maintain that same like agility in the combat sports marketplace without becoming like the big slow juggernaut? Like the UFC can't make a big pivot without it becoming a massive problem.
Yeah, I want to keep it as family oriented as possible. I mean, no matter how big we grow, I just want to have that feel. And I think that we can maintain that. I know we're going to need a little more structure, and we're going to need to add different guys on this team that we're not necessarily going to gel with as much. We're not going to get along with them, but they're going to bring very, very valuable assets to us. So we have to be open for that. And we're having those conversations now. When we get funded to the next level from a hedge fund or whatever that's going to be, that's going to take some growing pains for me, and I'm going to have to put my big boy pants on and have to, deal with some of these other people. And I get it, but that's all going to be when it comes time to grow. But we're never, ever, ever going to lose that family feel here. It's just not going to happen. I won't allow it to. It's what got us to where we are. It's what's going to keep, get us to keep going. And that's like even Paige VanZant said, the reason why she chose us over other organizations who we were comparable in offer was because of the family feel, and she could be a part of helping this company grow. And that was a big part of this. And look, if it grows so big and I'm able to sell out and make some good money and spend the rest of my life with my family, then that's what I'm in this for, you know.
Fantastic.
But
Yeah.
I love where we are now. I think my name and my company's name will forever be etched in history right now. So no matter where it goes, you know, it's a special time and a special place for us.
I mean, make no doubt about it. We're clawing on to them coattails, and we're trying to become like the premier podcast for BKFC. Like
Awesome.
we've been carving it up as much as we can. Don't worry about that. We're there.
I mean, seriously, here's why. Because I've been looking for an English broadcast team. Seriously, like podcast team. I mean, and if you guys want to go, this is something we'll talk about offline. But I would love to do something. It's something that we need and something that we want. And you know, you're asking a lot of good questions. So I like you guys.
That's really good to hear. We like you too. Like I mean, this is exactly like one of the things, because we got Jim Alias coming on. We've already spoken to Kevin Gleason. He's got a couple of the other bare knuckle guys. We want to try and get hold of Hector, but I might be a little bit too scared of Hector to speak to him, even via Zoom, because you never know what mood he's in.
He's great, but let me tell you, don't say anything against Donald Trump, or he'll, you know, then he'll.
Hey.
Right, I've noticed that from online.
Daddy loves Donny T. Right, I'm gonna leave it at that. Donald Pump can do no wrong with me, especially when Hector's around.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, man. That's great. So yeah, we're, like I said, we're just really, the whole team, we're excited where we are. We have this fight coming up this Saturday night. Joey Beltran is taking on Marcel Stamps.
Beltran is a savage.
It's crazy. He is. And one of the sports books has him, I think, about a 2-1 favorite. And another sports book has Marcel Stamps about a 2-1 favorite. So it's going to be a fight. I mean, Joey Beltran is just, he's special in the way that he just keeps coming forward no matter what you throw at him. He doesn't stop coming forward. And then we have 2016 United States Olympic boxing bronze medalist Nico Hernandez is going to be towing the line for the first time. And that's really something I'm excited to see. And I
can't wait to see that one.
Really proud of, because that's putting us into the mainstream of boxing now.
And that's taking a new one from a new avenue, right? That's bringing them in, fresh talent, fresh everything.
But that's why this is an equalizer sport. It really is. So we're going to see. I mean, look, he might blow Chauncey Wilson out. I don't know. I mean, but you know, it's different when the MMA guy grabs you by the back of the neck and starts punching. It just that's why I say it's the equalizer. It changes the game. So we don't know. I mean, but I'm excited. He's bringing a lot of freshness. A young guy with so bright of a future. So you know, it's great to have him on right now. And then Dave Rickles, he holds the record for the most Bellator fights ever. He's going to be fighting. He's going to be fighting right outside his hometown. And then a lot of young up-and-coming guys are going to be on this card as well. So, you know, this is an exciting one. And then we move into November, where some of the guys you guys are talking about, Louis Palomino versus Jim Allers, is going to be an unbelievable.
That is going to be such a savage fight. Like both of those guys come to bang.
Another one we have is Dat Nguyen versus Johnny Bedford for the lightweight 135-pound championship. It's going to be another one. It's going to just be crazy. Then we actually have an English guy that's training over here, Jake Bostic.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you're familiar with him, but Jake.
Brutal Botswick.
Yeah. He's going to make his bare knuckle debut. He's going to fight a guy that just fought on Valor bare knuckle, Bellator veteran Mike Richmond. So that's going to be a really great fight as well. So we have just a great things coming up by the end of the year. And then mid-January, Paige VanZant will make her bare knuckle debut.
Jesus. How do you, because bare knuckle is actually safer, as mad as that, you know, to most people, when you hear that, you think that's insane, especially when you see the pictures, you see the tissue damage, you see that, but the concussive and subconcussive blows are much less common, right? How I mean, is that something that you guys are actively trying to promote, that this is actually a little bit safer than other combat sports? It might look a little bit rougher, but you know, skin heals very quickly.
Sure. Well, you know, at the beginning, for the 8 years when I was getting turned down by every is I was telling them what I thought was going to happen. Yeah. And it was going to be safer, and they weren't going to take the concussive and subconcussive blows, as you mentioned. They were going to get cut up. It was everything that's happening. Yeah. But I didn't have any proof. Now I have all the proof, all the injury reports. And we do have less injuries than boxing or MMA. The only thing we have more of is more lacerations. We have more lacerations in the face than any other combat sport, but we have less, and this is the one that really gets me, we have less broken hands than boxing or MMA. We get swollen hands, but we have less broken hands. We have not yet, knock on wood, had one diagnosed subconcussive or concussive damage or diagnosis. We have not had one of those yet in all of our fights, which is amazing. We've had one broken eye socket. We've had a scare of a broken jaw, which it wasn't. So we've had one broken eye socket is the extent of the major injuries that we've had, and few broken hands, few broken wrists, and that's really it, man.
To be expected, though. You're throwing bones at someone else. Like these are going to happen. Heads are not the softest things, especially professional fighters' heads. These things happen.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I mean, it's just so I hired Dr. Don Musi. Dr. Don Musi is if you know how the United States boxing works, it's the Association of Boxing Commissioners. Mm-hmm. He is the president of the Association of Ringside Physicians for the Association of Boxing Commissioners. He's actually a consultant for us. So he works for us part-time to go and advocate states and the health and the safety of our sport. And he does a great job of helping us out the whole entire time. And it's a phenomenal acquisition for us to be able to add that guy to the team. He's brilliant. He's been doing this forever. And the thing I like about him is when he talks to other states, we can't have a doctor, a ringside physician that's never really done this before. We only did 1 or 2 fights a year. This is a guy who does a fight every weekend. So he knows fights. He's also a board certified neurologist. He knows, everything about everything in combat sports, and he's great on our team. And we needed something like that. That was where I was like, that was the missing link to pitch these new states to open up, because it's not an outside doctor we're bringing in. It's an inside doctor. It's the most respected physician in combat sports right now, and he's on our team. So we're so happy to have him on our team and the rest of the team. And, that's what gives us a little bit more legitimacy and the ability to expand the way we are.
It's just wild, isn't it? That, like Nevada 100 years ago was still sanctioning gunfights, and, like Jack Johnson had to be immediately moved to Nevada, and they're like, sure, but they won't let you do bare knuckle at the minute.
Yeah, I think Nevada won't be too far out. There's a couple of guys who just don't like us. One of the commissioners, he used to be the president of the Association of Boxing Commissioners, and now he works for an Indian tribe. He said, I don't care how safe they are, and I don't care how many states open them up, I'll never sanction their sport. So, there's some guys out there that do that, but at the end of the day I think the popularity and the persistence and the demand of the sport is going to force these states to start opening, and coupled with the safety factor, and all the documents that we have now.
The thing is, the second that a couple of casinos start really showing interest on a site fee, they're going to back down, because they want their little payments, don't they? They want their little special envelope from Mandalay Bay.
That's probably why they're saying no now. Yeah. They're just like, wait.
Yeah, they're getting the Golden Boys probably dropping them a little envelope.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, guys, man, I only have about 2 minutes left. And
Perfect. Thank you so much.
No, thanks for having me, man. It was great talking to you guys. Let's continue talking offline and see what we can build up. Great conversation. Glad you guys are fans, and just keep promoting it. If I can, just tell all your fans out there, it's the Bare Knuckle TV app. It's $3.99 a month. If you go to our website, bktvapp.com, bktvapp.com, $3.99 a month. You get 2 live events every month, plus all our library, all our content, all our programming, everything. It's a really good app, and you get the best fights in the world for $3.99 a month.
It really is.
Listen to the man. It is quality app. And having the library is the best. Being able to go back over the. Thank you so much, mate.
Thank you so much, David.
Appreciate it.
Have a great day.